take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
It is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Russo here. We got Christian Cat, no Mike Rizzo today as we got you up until 6 p.m. We're on ESPN 106.3 on your radio dial and streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm and ESPN South Florida. Got a packed program today. Lot to talk about. Dante Moore, for some inexplicable reason, decided to do a LeBron's The Decision on SportsCenter to announce whether he was going to come back to Oregon or go to the NFL. He's projected the number 2 quarterback in the class, potentially the number 2 overall pick. That would be to the Jets. And after this SportsCenter fiasco, he announces that he's actually coming back. He is going to be playing at Oregon again next year. Last time we saw him, he got pretty much throttled against Indiana. So I guess this is sort of understanding your market, understanding the market of what the NFL is looking for, your lifespan in the NFL. And he makes, in a lot of ways, a personal decision, not a business decision. And will be back in college next year. Dylan Raiola, actually, the former quarterback of Nebraska, went to Oregon, not without knowing this, I assume. So I guess eyes point to him on whether he's going to redshirt or not or sit behind him. Who knows? But Dante Moore deciding to sit and come back to college has been the big story of the day. You got trade deadline, coach carousel news with about 9 jobs opening. Now it's just a bunch of teams doing all their interviews. So John Harbaugh's making his ways around. You got Mike Tomlin, who people are checking up on. They don't know what he's going to do since the Steelers still have the rights. And also you have the up-and-comer coordinators from all around the league bouncing around to all the different opening head coaching spots, including and especially the Dolphins, who interviewed Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers today. With this Dante Moore situation, I was never under the impression this kid was great. I never really saw it. But what I do know is when you're projected to be the 2nd overall pick, you're going to have to take a long and hard look at the decision to come back versus the decision to leave. We talked about it a bit last week when Mike Rizzo was here. But when you're got that fortune at your toes, I think you owe it to yourself to just give it an honest try, especially when there's a lot of quarterbacks next year in the draft class that are likely going to come out. But after that performance against Indiana, all people know is the last time they saw you. You know, it's last impressions. And his last impression wasn't very good. And it wasn't very good at all. And he wasn't even great in the Texas Tech game. It was really the defense that made all the plays there. So now I guess all this tells you, in my opinion, macro level, is that there is starting to be a little bit of a dynamic shift. And I don't know if Arch Manning started it, but he's part of it, where college players, and I don't think this is a secret, but college players now have way better alternatives than do, well, I'm not 100% sure I want to go into the draft. I know I'd be a good draft pick. I don't know if I'm ready for it. 80-20. I'm going to the draft. That's what quarterbacks did 10 years ago. Players did 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't know if it's trickled down to the other positions yet, but the most important position is that quarterback position. And you got a lot of these players who now are saying, if I'm not ready and I don't think I'm ready, why leave? Why leave? It's being reported that Miami's offering Ty Simpson, the quarterback of Alabama, $6.5 million to come out of the draft selection process and go and play in Miami next year because Miami missed out on a couple of transfer targets. $6.5 million. So from a player perspective, how can you blame these guys from not doing that and not taking the money back at college when it's safer in a lot of ways? But I think college players are starting to get into the same boat of, we don't need to go to the league yet. We don't need it. College players before NIL, when they were getting paid under the table, not above the table, thought, we need to get to the league. That's where you need to be. Second you're available to, second you're good enough to get drafted high, you're doing it. It was a rarity to see guys come back for an extra year that they didn't necessarily need. Arch Manning goes to the draft. He's probably a top 5, top 6 selection, especially now. Even after having an iffy year. He's coming back to college. This is another example of that with Dante Moore, who probably at worst would have been a top 10 pick. And he is coming back. I wonder if Shedeur Sanders has anything to do with this. A guy who came out of college. I know that was a lot of off-field drama, but didn't test very well. Wasn't ultra productive in college, was a good player in college, not ultra productive, and he falls all the way to the 6th round. You saw Dylan Gabriel not get a fair rip. He had to leave, but you saw him not get a fair rip with the Cleveland Browns. That's a nightmare. See a lot of these players being put in not only terrible situations, but the second they step foot in that league, the timer starts. The overarching bomb clock that I got 2 years to figure this out. And if I don't, they're going to look in other directions. There are Giant fans who exist who said we should make considerations into alternative quarterback options if they had a top 3 pick instead of Jackson Dart, who had a good rookie year. College players have more of an alternative now than the NFL. Better alternatives, if even. Christian Cat, our producer today behind the glass. Number one, do you agree with that? Number two, could you see a dynamic shift to the other direction? Is the NFL making note of this that, all right, well, we need players to come out. We need quarterbacks to come out, and they're not. Is that something that they adjust and are noticing?
This might be very healthy. This might lead NFL organizations into not giving up on guys who did fail in their first stop in the league because of poor situations, which we've already seen with quarterbacks that some viewing public might give up on, and they get into a good system, and now they actually are producing like Sam Darnold and even Baker Mayfield, despite a tough end of the season, definitely better than when he was in Carolina. And so you're having less quarterbacks enter to just all of a sudden, bang, I don't care if we're drafting number 24 overall. We're going to reach for a quarterback because, Daniel Jones stunk with the Giants. I'm not going to make him our starting quarterback. Geno Smith stunk when he was with the Jets and when he was elsewhere. So I don't want to make him the quarterback. No, those options will open up. And you were spot on with seeing how Shedeur Sanders shook out in year one in the NFL and specifically where he fell in the NFL draft. You
can include Gabriel in this discussion as well.
I did not realize that Shedeur Sanders had a year of eligibility left if he wanted to stay with Colorado.
I believe he did.
I looked it up while you're talking, and yeah. Doesn't that seem like a massive swing and a miss in complete and total hindsight? Right. I know Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward at a moment in time looked like, who are you going to pick?
Lockstep 1 and 2.
And they were working out together, talking crap with one another. Exactly. So, and of course, Shedeur Sanders and the Sanders family probably have an inflated opinion of him as a quarterback prospect until the ultimate humbling happened in that draft.
And another guy who didn't need the money. You know, he had alternatives. It's not like you're going back for the money. He's going in there because he thinks he's ready. And a lot of, you think Shedeur Sanders wishes he was at Colorado last year?
Oh my goodness.
Like, I don't care if he loves the Browns or what he tells you in the media. You don't think he wishes he was at Colorado? He absolutely wishes that. So there's a number of players. I agree. There's better options. And maybe I like the word healthy there, because what does this tell teams? It tells teams, number one, there's not options, so we have to stick with our guys. And number two, I think it gives general managers a little sense that, well, if we want these guys to continue coming out, we have to make it almost a promising ecosystem to walk into. And the ecosystem's not very healthy right now, especially at that position. Because there are people out there who wanted to get rid of Bryce Young in his second year. Yeah. There are people, and whether it was fair or not, you know, C.J. Stroud has not played well in year 3 or 4, and they're looking, do we pay him or not? I'm not saying it's fair, but it's true. There are people who didn't like Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. If Cam Ward has another terrible year next year, those conversations will happen with the Titans.
Yeah, quarterbacks are being developed when they should be developing before they make it to the NFL because it's being paid to be developed at these college programs.
Right. Riley Leonard came out of college, and he was a backup, and what they do instead of giving the rookie a chance to even play, they brought in a 45-year-old who hadn't played in 5 years to play ahead of him. It's not a promising ecosystem for young players to develop. The coaching carousel, if you think that has something to do with it, there are 9 jobs open. There's 9 jobs open, 9 turnovers. And of those 9, Michael Penix, there are Falcon fans who want to get rid of Michael Penix. There's Viking fans who want to get rid of McCarthy. I agree. I don't think those guys are very good. But is it the right ecosystem to allow that? Absolutely not. It really isn't. And I wonder, Dante Moore doing this is probably the most notable guy outside of Arch Manning to come back and turn into college. And the excuse with Manning was, well, he's got so much professional NFL blood attached to him. He's got money attached to him. He doesn't need the money. And it's clear that he thinks he could use another year of eligibility and another year of development. Now that Dante Moore did it, I think this is going to start, if it hasn't already, a little bit of a catapult effect onto other players. And if Ty Simpson is the icing on the cake, I know he's still deciding as far as I know. If he decides to go to Miami, or he decides to go to another school that's offering $5-6 million a year, or maybe he's happy that Dante Moore left because he thinks he'll be a better draft selection. If that's the case, what does this tell you? Does it tell you more about the players in college, or does it tell you more about the NFL? I think it tells you a little bit more about the NFL. Because I don't think college teams develop quarterbacks the right way. And I think it takes longer for them to catch up to speed. And I also think the NFL, it is a headhunting business where they will get rid of you the second you have a bad 6-game stretch.
Yeah, I don't know how to stomach the information of, in whether it's Dante Moore or anybody else, a quarterback that is saying, okay, you could look at it either way. If they declare for the draft or they stay in college. A quarterback that stays in college, you could say, not too confident in thyself, is going to stay where he's comfortable and get paid to do it millions of dollars.
Plenty of money.
Or if you declare on the draft, if you have more eligibility, you could stay in college, but you're choosing to go to the draft instead and try your chances in the NFL. Oh, they are capitalizing because they think their stock will not be higher than this, and they're trying to sell themselves and get that contract and make that money now. An old school line of thinking where, like you were mentioning before, if you had a chance to be in the NFL, you don't roll the dice again. You don't risk having a Jordan Travis-style injury and having your career ended with one tackle from an unblocked defender. You got to jump on that immediately because those chances will not always be there. But certain level of talent, guys are saying the NFL will be there when I'm ready for it.
I wouldn't have blamed the kid, Dante Moore, for going to the draft, and I was against it a week ago, but I don't know. You don't want to draw conclusions from one game, but he looked like a boy amongst men against Indiana. He looked young. He looked young like he wasn't, and he looked like he needed another year. It did. And Oregon's willing to take him back. Oregon was probably paying him $5-6 million to begin with because they got Nike money. Why not? And if anything, it serves the NFL right. Now, this turns into, because the NFL, on the other hand, the Arizona Cardinals are going to want to move on from Murray. The Raiders are the only team really with an opportunity to a surefire selection at quarterback. The Jets are going to need somebody. We haven't even gotten to the Dolphins, and I have a thought process on how this affects Tua Tagovailoa and his trade market we'll get into a little later. But there are a number of teams out there that need now to make decisions at that position. The Browns are another one. The Browns need to make a decision at quarterback and how they're going to handle it. Luckily, the Saints lucked out, got Tyler Shuck, and they're good as new. But there's more of a demand than there is a supply for the first time in, I think, a while. And it might seem like that year in and year out, but outside of unhappy, overpaid veterans that are sitting on the bench somewhere, Tua, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, there are not a lot of young, promising options. And I think it could lead to a good little ecosystem reset.
Which is weird because we had a windfall of quarterbacks 2 years ago. We had six quarterbacks taken in the top 12.
Yeah.
You would think that, all right, we got our fill.
And a lot of them are good. Caleb's good. May is good. Daniels is good. A lot of them, Nix is good. A lot of them are good. But I think the idea that McCarthy, who has had, 12 career games, and then Penix, who I think is not much higher, maybe 18 career games, that's maybe less, 16 career games, are already kind of universally hated by their fan bases.
Yeah. I was going to say with J.J. McCarthy, I'm a part of the problem. I've already given up on J.J. McCarthy, even though 2 years from now, I will include him in the comparison of the Bakers of the world, the Genos of the world. You know how the Vikings just gave up on J.J. McCarthy, and now he's throwing touchdowns to Marvin Harrison Jr. in Arizona. They were fools to not let it flush out a little bit. I'm a part of that problem because the way the NFL works, you're just these memories you have of these guys just sink in, and you think about them for the next 6 days until they put up another product on film. And with the soft benching, if you would, where the Vikings were showing you very early on that they weren't quite confident in their guy by letting him ride the pine for a little bit and using an injury as the excuse, we're part of the problem.
Yeah, I do. But the one thing about the Vikings is Vikings had an alternative. The
True.
whole goal, the goal above all of it was to have a guy, and you won 14 games with Sam Darnold, and you let him walk. I had more criticism of that. I would have been in favor of keeping Darnold, trading McCarthy. It doesn't mean you don't give him a fair shot. You have to give him a fair shot because that's where you made a promise almost to that young man when you signed him to that rookie contract that we're going to give you a fair shot at developing you. A fair shot at developing you is not a year. It's not 2. And then all of a sudden, if somebody else falls in front of you and somebody else is really good, Sam Darnold, I think that's one of the peculiar situations in which you say, sorry, but we'll get you to a team that will do right by you. And I think that's what they should have done in hindsight. Cousins is another one. Cousins and Penix. They get Penix. They sign. They know what they do is they sign Cousins and then they draft Penix. That's not necessarily. And now the coach is fired. So I can't say that's not. It's not sunshine and rainbows in Atlanta. And that's not giving him a fair opportunity to develop. But the next guy almost has to sign up for that. There's too much turnover with coaching, and therefore, because of that, there's too much turnover in player development. You have Brady moaning and groaning on the broadcasts on whenever Fox does a game at some of these players' decisions because pre-snap they're a nightmare. And outside of that, he says, and then he circles back to the main point that these guys aren't developed enough. They're not developed enough. They are one-trick ponies at whatever the coach tells them to look at. They don't see the game in a dynamic veteran's eyes. Very bizarre. Now, to build off of this, what I think this Dante Moore thing has sort of sheds light on, and I think all eyes are on Ty Simpson now as well. If for some reason Ty Simpson goes to Miami, and you're looking at Mendoza, probably Trinidad Chambliss, and a handful of others Sawyer Robertson out of Baylor. Who knows? You're looking at a handful of other guys coming out of the draft. All of a sudden, all the teams are going to be looking around thinking, who's our next guy? And I think maybe it creates a market for the veteran under contract sitting on the bench somewhere, Tua Tagovailoa. But I actually think this will lead the Dolphins to be inclined to keep Tua. I'll explain why on the other side of things. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Christian Cat. You've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall. My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They're here to fight for you. They don't even charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand the best. Demand Anajar and Levine. It all takes that one phone call. Take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for free consultation today. Call 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Listen back to why I think Tua Tagovailoa will be a Miami Dolphin next year. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Hey guys, Mike Rizzo here. I know you're moving soon. Don't stress it. Call Good Greek for your total relocation solution. From packing and storage to local and long distance moves, Spiro and his team at Good Greek Moving and Storage has you covered from start to finish. Trusted by families, businesses, and teams like the Heat and the Hurricanes for over 2 decades. Make your next move simple, safe, and stress-free.
Good Greek Moving and Storage. Your superhero movers.
Today's tax tip is brought to you by Anshin Accountants and Advisors with Yair Holtzman, partner and leader of Anshin's Research and Development Tax Credits Group.
The One Big Beautiful Bill Act restored full expensing of domestic research and development expenditures, allowing businesses to deduct qualifying costs immediately or choose among different tax treatments. Beginning with tax years after December 31st, 2024, special elections for small businesses can be applied retroactively. At Anshin, a partner-owned firm since 1923, we help businesses develop a proactive tax plan, identify qualified activities and expenses, and optimize cash flow and tax benefits. If your business is investing in U.S.-based R&D and looking to maximize incentives while remaining compliant with tax law, let Anshin deliver value where others can't.
For more tax tips from Anshin, visit Anshin.com. That's ANCHIN.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, helping you recalculate what's possible.
The College Football Championship's here. Miami looks to win their 6th national title and cement themselves back at the top of college football. Indiana comes in as juggernauts, undefeated, experienced. They've got the Heisman winner, and they're looking for their first championship. Find out who wins it all Monday on ESPN 106.3. College Football Championship Week on ESPN 106.3 is presented by Lebovic Law Group, Warriors for Justice, Flagler Credit Union, and the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches.
At HSS, movement is their specialty. Their team of experts provide personalized treatment options backed by over 160 years of orthopedic expertise. Whether you need advanced non-surgical solutions, surgical care, or comprehensive rehabilitation, HSS Florida delivers the exceptional quality care you expect from HSS, the nation's #1 in orthopedics. With 3 locations in West Palm Beach, Wellington, and now Jupiter, expert care has never been closer to home. Choose better, move better. Learn more at hss.edu/Florida.
Hi everyone, this is Tyler Hero.
This is Bam Adebayo.
This is Jaime Hawkins Jr.
This is Nikola Jovic.
It's Kasper Sigurdsson.
It's Norman Powell, and you're listening to ESPN 106.3 and the ESPN South Florida app.
ESPN 106.3 is your home for Miami Heat basketball.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit 1 checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, official credit union of Florida Atlantic Athletics.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studio.
Fans, get ready because the ESPN Radio College Football Campus Tour rolling into City Place, West Palm Beach, before it heads down to Miami on Monday. You got Theo Dorsey and myself on January 17th, Saturday night from 4 to 8 p.m. Catch us from 5 to 7, doing some shows. You can even try your shot at some Serve Pro Rapid Response Reflex games, play the Robin Hood football toss, and enter some awesome giveaways. Give you a free monster drink if you show up to City Place on Saturday night. Bring your friends, rep your school, be part of the action as ESPN Radio takes over City Place. Join us for nonstop college football fun, ESPN Radio College Football Campus Tour, Saturday, January 17th, 4 to 8 at City Place, West Palm Beach. All right, Christian, I'm going to explain to you a line of thinking that I think about this Tua Tagovailoa situation.
Yeah, no one's had an answer yet. Like, Tua is a conundrum. When you bench him at the tail end of the season, McDaniel's fired. You have a new GM in there now who probably has a very strong opinion on what to do with Tua. We don't know what it is yet. Maybe you're going to spoil it, and maybe you've got the keys.
I don't know if I have the keys, but just to play this out loud, Tua Tagovailoa's cap hit this year, this coming year, this past year was $39 million. Next year is $56 million. If you want to potentially out after next year, that would still cost you around $35 million of dead cap, right? So in football, elementary terms, very expensive player. And it's very expensive to get rid of him. It's more expensive to get rid of him than it is to keep him. And at least in the short term. If the idea around the Dolphin fan right now is we're going to get the new guy in here, we're going to get the new coach, and the first thing he's going to do is trade Tua. I understand I just went on and on about how there's a big market for him, but who would want Tua? Who is going to pay a decent price to get Tua? Unless you're trading him for pennies on the dollar and you're trading him for absolutely nothing, who is realistically going to make a move for him? And because of that reason, who are the Dolphins going to get in exchange for him? You're going Quinn Ewers, that's it next year? Nobody else? Because you can't go sign somebody because you're paying all that money to Tua. And more likely than not, if you trade Tua, you're not giving the next team all of that contract. You're taking some of it because you have no leverage in this situation. You're taking some of that contract. So you're already going to have money tied up here. You're already going to have to sign a veteran to, back up Quinn Ewers? Start ahead of Quinn Ewers? Of the guys that are going to be available, of the quarterback-needy teams, and, there's a couple TBDs out there. Arizona's a TBD. There's a couple of situations. Nobody knows what's going to happen in Indianapolis. But the way I look at it is, of the teams that will need somebody, the Jets will need one. Where are they going to look? Are the look, Christian, let me ask you right now. Let's just play this out. Outside of Tua, who are the guys that will prioritize some sort of a commodity in the offseason? I think Kyler Murray is one. Would you agree?
Yeah, he has untapped potential if you look at it optimistically.
And you'd put Kyler Murray ahead of Tua in terms of the targets amongst NFL teams outside of their specific team.
It's pretty interesting because Kyler has had pretty good weapons on offense similar to that of Tua. And Tua has reached greater heights offensively with that unit.
So you think Tua, it would warrant a bigger market than Kyler?
What's the money again? I think Kyler Murray's got paid a lot. He got a big deal,
They're both getting paid a lot. So I think it's just along the same lines.
You know what? Kyler's been injured too. Kyler Murray is West Coast Tua.
He's more athletic.
No one gives a damn about the Arizona Cardinals, if we're being honest. And people do care a lot about the Miami Dolphins nationwide.
Fair enough.
Compared to Arizona. I think they're very comparable. I would say because you have less commitment issues to the NFL with Tua, I think you might value him higher.
The way I look at it is I think Tua's had way lower lows than Kyler's highs. Than Kyler's lows. But Tua's probably had a bigger high than Kyler has. So I think Kyler's a little bit more stable of an option comparatively, and I believe he's further into his contract because Kyler got signed about 3 off seasons ago, give or take, and Tua got signed a year and a half ago, and it's just kicking in, that extension. I would view Kyler as a bigger target for teams. I think he'll be the top target that's not in the draft outside of Tua. I do think so.
Yeah, I just think that so much of this game is above the shoulders, not in terms of head injuries, but in terms of commitment to the game, living, breathing the game, and you're not getting that out of Kyler Murray.
You're not getting that, and you're not getting that. It doesn't seem like you're getting that out of Tua either.
I think he's well-intentioned. He wants a fresh start. He said that'd be great.
I don't disagree. I'm surprised you're on this, but I do think Kyler has – the thing is Kyler hasn't been great, but Kyler has proven to me at least – more in the last 2 years than Tua has. And Kyler hasn't been always healthy, but Tua's been nothing short of a nightmare. Tua's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the entire league when he plays. Kyler never was that, which is why I would argue that Kyler would demand a little bit more of a market comparatively to Tua. I'll check the numbers in a second. But Kyler, I think, would demand more of a market. I think for struggling QB-needy teams, we need a short fix. I think teams would go after Kirk Cousins before they go after Tua Tagovailoa. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think if Phil Rivers can get a roster spot and start an NFL game in 2025, and Kirk Cousins, you could sign yourself up for that.
And Kirk archetypes that's in demand. Those guys are in demand right now. So I think Kirk earned himself a contract too. Remember, he played well at the end of the year. Beat the Rams. They played well throughout the end of the year.
Which is fascinating because the Falcons just hired Matt Ryan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
To what is it?
President of football.
President of football, which is a term that I think only he in the NFL has that title. Wouldn't you think that Matt Ryan would look at Kirk Cousins and think, I'm looking in the mirror right now? You remind me of myself. I could probably design an offense or at least scheme up how we want to plan this to go around a guy like you.
That's if he has decision-making in regard to what they do on the field or who they're going to get. I mean, I think that a lot of that relies on that quarterback. And I think the Falcons, if you sign up for the Falcons, I think you're signing up for Penix. I do not think you're signing up for Kirk Cousins. I think that's part of the gig. You're signing up at least quickly, early with Penix.
That's the dichotomy of paying Kirk Cousins as much as they did last offseason.
Which is why I think he'll be a trade candidate. I think Kirk would tell you right now. Penix, they're both healthy. Penix is starting. And I think Kirk would tell you I could still play, and I want to play.
They both have their baggage. Like, you either have draft capital sunken into Penix or actual money sunken into the older guy, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and when they both have highs and lows, I do think that they're going to just go cheap. Just go cheap.
Yeah, that's true.
Just go cheap. Just don't spend the money. I think he would demand a Kirk Cousins above Tua. I think teams would go after Kyler before Tua. I think teams would go after Kirk Cousins before Tua. Here's an interesting one. Would teams go after somebody like Mac Jones before they go after Tua?
Yes. Ooh. If he couldn't make it work with Bill Belichick, what better situation do you think that you have that could make it click?
Shanahan guy, he's basically did exactly what Darnold did, and he sat behind in a Shanahan offense for a year. Played well when he was asked to be. Played just as well, maybe a little worse than Brock Purdy, but played well, won games for them. And I know anybody can win games in a Shanahan offense. I do think he'll market, and he's cheap.
Yeah, you're right. He is exceptionally cheap. You can talk yourself into rolling out Mac Jones as your starting quarterback,
right,
and not look like a joke at all.
Just a bridge. Yeah. Just to have somebody. Malik Willis is definitely way more of a market than Tua will. And Malik Willis is a prospect for the Dolphins. Problem is, you're not signing Malik Willis without getting rid of Tua. And you got to get Tua to a team. And the Raiders, we're not including them because I don't think – I know Theo Dorsey, of Theoretically Speaking, said the Raiders should absolutely trade the pick. I do not think the Raiders are – I think the Raiders are going to stay put, and they're going to draft Mendoza, and they'll hand in their card tonight. I think that it will be that surefire. Are you under that same impression?
Yeah, I thought it was crazy.
Yeah, no way.
You cannot pass up that opportunity.
Not even a question. I'm under the impression Malik Willis, Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray – I'd even throw in there Mac Jones, would demand more of a market because of contract, because of how he's played recently than Tua Tagovailoa. And I don't know if that's crazy.
You know who won games this year for the Baltimore Ravens is Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, the thing is he never worked anywhere else. That might be a true, you're staying put. But yeah. That's a good question. I don't know about that. Joe Flacco. You think teams would go after Joe Flacco before they go after Tua?
What was his last start? He got traded to who? The Bengals?
Yeah, the Bengals. And then he played right the week before Thanksgiving.
And him as Burrow just didn't get along.
They lost, and they lost, and he got eliminated from the postseason because they played that Raven game, eliminated from the postseason.
Flacco, yeah, he seems to enjoy his alone time from his family by playing football.
Yeah.
So he
wants to go as far away as possible for some reason.
Arizona.
All I know is we just, right off the top, just to run about 3 or 4 players, 2 at the very least that we could agree upon that would demand more of a market than Tua Tagovailoa. So to circle things back, if you're the Dolphins, why would you get rid of him? Because who are you going to get alternatively? Are you going to trade him and sign somebody? Because I'm not under any impression that the Miami Dolphins can trade Tua and get that entire contract, or at least a big part of his contract, off the books. Because who is taking that? Who is taking that is of the quarterback-needy teams? Cleveland, let's throw out there that they need a quarterback. I have a hard time seeing them go get a savvy vet that is very expensive, like Tua. And Las Vegas is going to have a rookie quarterback. The Jets are going to need somebody. I think all eyes are on the Jets and how they handle this. That, I think, screams Kirk Cousins. I think that screams Kirk Cousins. And now you look at other teams that might be needy because of injury. You look at Indianapolis. That might be a Riley Leonard situation. But outside of that, Arizona's going to need somebody. The Giants are fine. Washington is fine. Dallas is okay. Atlanta, you're looking at that with 2 eyes, thinking, something might be able to change. Minnesota, you're doing sort of the same thing. And outside of that, where are you shipping Tua to? Where are we shipping him? Pittsburgh's another one. Pittsburgh will need a player.
See, Pittsburgh is undergoing, obviously, with the breaking news yesterday and Mike Tomlin walking away from the team, it is as good a time as ever as to not sink your teeth in to his contract.
I completely agree. I think that's exactly what they're thinking. Boy,
let's just be bad for 1 year.
Let me hire the new hotshot defensive coordinator. First thing I want to do, Rooney's, can I sell you on Tua Tagovailoa? Really? Absolutely not.
I think to answer your question as to what Tua's value will be,
there's no market.
I think the only market there will be for Tua is a mid-season trade because of a quarterback. Exactly. A quarterback injury and a team that is in a win-now mode that simply cannot afford to chalk up 2026 as a lost cause because of X quarterback got hurt. Tua's in the market. Let's do it. Let's capitalize right now. And what would a team like that look like? I mean, we saw that the 49ers are okay with Mac Jones if he does stay in the 49ers uniform and be back up for another year. A team that has essentially such a well-built system that a quarterback like Tua could be traded for midseason and win games for them because that's how functional they are. It's a short list. I think the Seattle Seahawks maybe.
Because there's not enough Seattle Seahawks.
I think if Sam Darnold got hurt midseason.
That's just one to throw out there.
Yes, I'm trying to think of a team that has just firing all cylinders, and the quarterback is not the catalyst. Like, if Josh Allen got hurt midseason, I don't think they'd say,
up the season.
Yeah, I don't think they'd say Tua, fill in, and he could do what Josh did. Obviously not.
It's the same reason that the Chiefs sort of mailed it in after Mahomes got hurt, even though he got hurt late in the year. There's just not that many teams that need somebody right now. Because there's not a lot of great rookie quarterbacks, I know there's not a lot of good quarterback play, but a lot of these guys are trapped with their guys. You know, outside of Cleveland, the Jets, Pittsburgh, who, unless Rodgers comes back, will need somebody. Vegas is going to have their guys, so let's cross them off the list. They're going to get Mendoza. Outside of that, you're looking at Arizona, and they already have a guy under contract that they're trying to trade, most likely. So he'll be shifted to one of those teams. Tennessee has their guy. Kansas City will be fine. Cincinnati will be fine. Don't even look at any of the playoff teams. C.J. Stroud's coming back. Jacksonville's fine. Carolina's fine. Baker's staying. Hey, where are we shipping to? Where does Tua fit in on any of these teams? If the Cleveland Browns want to rid themselves of the clown culture, they're not bringing in Tua. The Jets, I would argue the same, especially in the same division. Pittsburgh is one you have your eye on. That's the one you have your eye on. That or Arizona. And I don't think he's going to either spot. Tua's going to be a Dolphin. He's going to be a Dolphin next year. I don't know if the next coach is going to, you're not signing up for him long term. You can get out after next year. But for 2026, Tua Tagovailoa will be a Miami Dolphin. 888-760-3776. You think Tua Tagovailoa will be a Dolphin? If not, how do you offload that contract? Where do you ship him somewhere? Where do you ship him? Let us know. 888-760-3776, number to get into the program. Are you under that impression as well, Christian?
Yeah, it's tough. You kind of laid it out. I can't imagine the scenario right now who would take on Tua, because it's not the NBA, where Evan Cohen's been pretty good on this about how the modern-day way of building a team that can last is just taking on a bunch of really bad contracts, getting unlimited picks from the teams that are trying to get off of those bad contracts, and then doing the Oklahoma City Thunder method of just having unbelievable draft capital, and you have so many chances at that lottery, and you win that way. It's different in the NFL. You just can't completely tank via ruining your salary cap. So I can't think of a way. And I think bring in a new head coach, bring in a new general manager, you are changing a bunch of dependent variables around Tua that have a possibility of making it work. Not saying it's a high chance, but there is a chance. We've written off quarterbacks before who have proven us wrong. Tua has shown us, as you mentioned, like he is in the 30s in terms of productivity at the quarterback position.
In the last 2 years.
Yeah, since in the last 2 years. That 2022 season feels like forever ago. That Tua's gone. Maybe there's a different variation of Tua that isn't that record-breaking offense Tua, but is Tua that you can build around. And if you have 1 year where you're stuck with them anyway, you might as well take a chance at it. Like,
no
it's
way.
not Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
Have them compete in the offseason.
And Tua was a good backup. You know, it seemed like he did well with backing up Ewers, whether you want to call him as a backup or not. It seemed like he was a good teammate. It seemed like he was there. He was present.
And if he wasn't, we would have heard about it. So like, the fact that there aren't like good stories about Tua as a backup means that he was good at that.
Quiet. Yeah, no news is good news with that specifically. And if Tua Tagovailoa is coming out and saying, well, I want a fresh start, well, fine. It takes two to tango. We signed you this giant contract. Now we need to find a way to get you out. So I'm selling myself more by the minute. Tua's going to be a Dolphin next year. He will be a Dolphin next year. He will probably start some games. 888-760-3776. Will Tua Tagovailoa be a Dolphin? If not, how are you getting rid of him? Leo in Riviera Beach. Haven't heard from Leo in a while. Leo, welcome in. How you doing today? What's going on?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call as always. The only way I could think of to kind of either push Tua out or get him out or bring the best out of him is to try to bring in another quarterback with Quinn Ewers, try to bring in another, maybe a veteran, maybe somebody like a 3-year player that has gotten a bad rap elsewhere, like almost like a Sam Darnold, to get him for cheap. And then once you have training camp, make it an open competition and basically tell Tua, hey, listen, just because we're paying you the money, the starting job's not yours. Let's see if you can win the starting job. If he wins the starting job, so be it. If he doesn't win the starting job, okay, we have the highest paid backup for a year, but at least you've pushed him and see if he wilt or see if he bloomed. And I think that's the only way you could find out truly what you could get out of Tua, if not for next year, for years to come, or if it's just time to get rid of him after next year.
So, Leo, you're under the impression that whoever this new coach is that comes in will be thinking, as long as we do an open quarterback competition, he's not going to come in already having his mind set on moving on. He's going to give him a fair rip.
Yeah, just at least give him one shot under there, even if it's like a perceived fair shot. But with the idea, like, hey, we're expecting him to not win the quarterback competition. I mean, if he wins it, okay, he'll start until things get bad, just like last year. But I personally want to see more of Quinn Ewers, or see if there was like a backup that didn't get time, or maybe a draft pick, a high draft pick from a few years ago that's been underachieving or is perceived as a bust. See if we can bring him in. And just to push Tua. Tua's always been the kind of anointed one in Miami in his career. And so let's see how he deals with a little bit of adversity from inside his own locker room, instead of saying, oh, everybody's rooting for Tua. Let's see how he deals with some haters within his own locker room to see if it brings out the best of them, then great. But if it doesn't bring out the best of him and he wilts, then he's never going to be a quarterback for Miami in that case. And then GM and the new coach will know what they need to do with him.
Leo, appreciate the call. Thank you for chiming in. 888-760-3776. Where are you going to put Tua? Yeah, is he coming back next year? I'm under the impression he's not going anywhere. He will be playing quarterback for that Miami Dolphin team next year. Christian is under the impression that midseason, if anything.
Yeah, and also with Tua, it's not – I think you play Tua next year. I don't think that – like, we saw Quinn Ewers, and we never saw a spark. There never was a glimmer of, wait a second, there might have been a diamond in the rough here.
It was not a lot of time. I will give him that. I mean, he had one game where he played well and one game where he didn't play well, but I understand.
But, like, he didn't give you any Tyler Shuck vibes.
No, he
right?
did not. Like, Tyler Shuck got 9 games, but I understand. I do.
And what I'm saying is Tua's value is so low right now in terms of acquiring from another team. It can only go up. So if Tua looks good and you still want to get off of him, his value for other teams can only go up. And him losing a hypothetical quarterback battle to Quinn Ewers will drop the 0.00001% share that he costs right now into zero. Like, it'll be dropped off the public traded market, and it does not exist if Tua does not start to begin the 2026 season. So if you have any hope of getting off of Tua because another team thinks there is some value to Tagovailoa, you just got to play him.
You got to play him. Yeah, the asset's bankrupt right now. So you got to get it back into something churning in the right direction. I agree with that. The only way it can go is up.
Yeah, like with those like cryptocurrencies. If you sell once it goes all the way down to
got to ride it out.
99% of
you
what
already
you paid
got skin
for
in the game.
Exactly.
We're riding it out.
Like, you gain nothing by getting that 1 cent for the $100 you paid for that share. You got to sit there and hope it gets back up to $50, then sell it then. Like, you can't cut your losses at that point. Not at all. You're not getting anything.
Not anything out of it. You can't cut those losses.
You can't give the Steelers Tua Tagovailoa, and in return for them eating that contract, you can't give them 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be a deal not as that dramatic, but you'll have to give in addition to Tua Tagovailoa for taking on that contract. It's not worth it to do that.
888-760-3776. What are the Miami Dolphins going to be doing with Tua Tagovailoa in 2026? That's Christian Cat. Colin Russo on the other side of things. We'll do a little bit more Tua and also get into that coaching carousel. There's 9 jobs open. Is Mike McDaniel going to get another head coach look? We'll get into that. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Listen up, athletes, people who are trying to get into a little better shape. You got to understand, showing up, going to the gym every single day, yes, good things all around, but you won't see the progress you're really, truly looking for if you're not fueling your body the right way. Nutrition and supplementation is really 80% of the battle. That's where Vitacost Sports Certified Marketplace comes in. Whether you're prepping for a race, grinding at the gym, just trying to get, slim down the waist, trying to get into better shape, that's where these products on the Vitacost Sports Certified Marketplace can help you. They got over 400 performance-enhancing supplements that are all certified, which means they're free of any banned substances, no funny business going on. They help you take that next step. That could be from collagen, from protein, from electrolytes, fish oil, you name it, they got it. Creatine on top of that. Use code ESPN20 for 20% off on the Vitacost Sports Certified Marketplace today. That's ESPN20. Level up your game at Vitacost. It is Colin Russo and Christian Cat. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Big story of yesterday was Mike Tomlin officially stepping down as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers after 19 seasons, not a singular losing season, and a Super Bowl championship to his name. So now it just adds another team into the fold of things that are going to need a new head coach. So now we're looking at the Ravens. We're looking at the Dolphins. We're looking at the Falcons, Giants, Titans, and that includes the Cardinals, Raiders, and then the Browns. That is 9 head coach openings. That is the second highest since basically 2020 when there was 10. Third of the league in and out every single time. Last year was 7. And now with all these new coaching openings and not a lot of coach candidates that are that attractive from bird's eye view, does Mike McDaniel get a head coaching job for next year?
Yeah, I think I would say that because of supply demand, not that he's ever so special, because nobody else really is. And I'm playing the numbers game here, and I don't think any of these Cowboys coaches are thinking about making this next step up.
People keep throwing around Cignetti. Cignetti's not going anywhere.
People are still throwing around Marcus Freeman. I don't think that's – I think I've been on record saying it's a top 5 job in sports. Really, Notre Dame football. I really do think it's that great of a job that I would not leave the NFL for that, with the uncertainty that comes with that. I think Mike McDaniel does get a job in the NFL somewhere this offseason.
I tend to agree. I think one of the lower tier jobs, I think that's where you're going to see McDaniel. I do. I think you'll see him somewhere like the Cardinals, somewhere like the Titans, something like that. Maybe even the Browns. I don't know if the Browns are going to want to do that. That'd be really signing up for the circus, is getting Mike McDaniel in there. But I kind of agree.
And I'm looking, you can look purely at this year and how poorly Tua played, where you can really talk yourself into, wait a second, you get Mike McDaniel, just like a, 10 to 20 ranked quarterback. Not a great guy.
Even talent on offense, he's going to produce.
Yeah. And if you already have your defensive situation locked tight, competent, good, you can talk yourself into Mike McDaniel quickly, considering there is not a Ben Johnson right now, or even an Aaron Glenn right now, as highly touted a coach they were entering that offseason.
Yeah, the way I look at it, if I'm Mike McDaniel's agent, I actually tell him to forego this coaching cycle and go take the Lions OC job. Because I actually think that's more valuable to the perception of him and his coaching ability, is if he goes somewhere like the Lions and lights it up. I think he'd be a much more attractive coaching candidate comparatively to next year. He was almost reluctantly fired. They didn't love him. He was okay. Fine is the word. Is a little under fine is if you were to define Mike McDaniel's coaching tenure with the Miami Dolphins. I think that Lions OC job would do much more good for him comparatively to something like if he went to the Cardinals and he was trying to rebuild the team. That was a nightmare. Because what has he shown about building up a team? He walks into teams with good talent, and he's able to, if you give him a couple fast running backs and a quarterback that knows how to operate, he's going to be able to score, but he's not going to be able to build a team and sort of build a camaraderie. That's what you're nervous about, which is why I think going somewhere like the Lions, where he could actually learn from somebody like Dan Campbell, who's a culture builder, who's somebody who knows how to command a locker room, who's sort of a no-nonsense guy. If I'm his agent, and they're offering, go make your $2 million for 1 year living in Detroit, and you'll definitely be a one and done if you have a good offense. I think that Lions OC job would do him a whole lot better than going to take the Brown job, for example.
I was trying to find it, and unfortunately, in the last 45 seconds, I couldn't find who said it. But the Eagles' offensive coordinator job also is a really good spot to be in. I got to imagine.
Peter Schrager was talking about that today, about how the Eagles' offensive coordinator job is one of the more valuables of the coaching cycle. I would make the argument that the Lions is more valuable, but the Eagles is right there next to them. You want to
less scrutiny in Detroit.
True. Less scrutiny in Detroit, and on top of the Eagles, you're working with in a lot of ways, a quarterback that you have to cater your offense to rather than have the quarterback just go in and light up the offense. I think you have to deal with Hurts a little bit more than you have to deal with Goff. So therefore, I think he's just more suited to that Lions offense. 2 good running backs. Maybe they move on from Montgomery, but you have Jahmyr Gibbs sitting there. That's A-chain all over. And then you have fast receivers. You have a good tight end. You have an offensive line that has players, that are fast and capable, and you have an operator or quarterback. Mike McDaniel would light up the NFL as a Lions offensive coordinator. That is the best move for his career if he's really considering, what's my next best step? If we're not thinking about money, it's the Lions offensive coordinator job. Not even a consideration. And I agree with you. You brought up the Eagles. There are the offensive coordinator of the Lions and the offensive coordinator of the Eagles. There are jobs that are listed at head coach openings that are worse jobs than those two jobs. Lions OC and Eagles OC, I would say, is a better job right now than the Browns. Right now. I would say that's a better job.
I would say, this is funny, I think it's a better job than the Dolphins.
I don't know if I agree with that.
They've got, the Tua conundrum is just handicapping you. It's a ball and chain that you can't get away of, no?
I do. The one thing about it is they have an open general manager, and nobody's expecting you to come in and make Tua work. Nobody's expecting that. You walk into the Titans, you have to make Cam Ward work, or else you're going to be fired.
Or people would say you get to, right? I think it's a different way of looking at it if you want the high expectations because you have a reason to believe that you can achieve those high expectations versus, Aaron Glenn wasn't really in a great position with the Jets.
No.
And it didn't turn out great. And now you kind of do it to ask the question, could somebody have made something happen here? Well, maybe it's totally unfair.
Right. And the Falcons is another one. You walk into the Falcons, you have to make Penix work. You have to make that work. Maybe you got a little bit more of a leash in regard to him. But the Lions OC and the Eagles OC, who both are prolific offenses in terms of the actual talent that they have, if I'm an offensive inclined coach who's getting looks, I'm taking those two jobs before I take the Browns. I'm taking those two jobs. I'd even throw in there the Cardinals. I'm probably taking those two jobs. I'd listen to the Dolphins. I don't know if I would. I think I'd still rather take the Dolphins. But I would definitely over the Cardinals and Browns.
What do you think about Rob Saleh getting back in the head coaching market this offseason?
The way he has operated the last, 6 weeks, I think has improved his coaching stock tremendously. But I also think it makes the Jets look that much worse. Because he didn't do a good job with the Jets by any stretch. He wasn't good with it just didn't work out. But I think NFL teams are looking at that thinking this guy can, motivate anybody. The granny across the street to run through a brick wall. He is a motivator. He's a leader of men, and he's an excellent defensive mind. I don't think anybody would doubt that. Is he head coach material? I guess TBD, but I do think he'll get another look. And on top of that, we also talked about there's not a lot of coaching candidates out. I'm a Bob Saleh guy.
And you know what? I think that a unsuccessful tenure with the Jets probably taught a lot to Robert Saleh in terms of how selective he should be in his next head coaching gig.
Yeah, he's going to a good owner.
Right, he's not just going to take anything because, a promotion, bang, I'm there. No, you're going to evaluate the entire situation and see if it's whether or not the right place for you.
Yeah, I think Saleh will get a job. I think Harbaugh will get a job. I'm not under the impression that Tomlin will get a job this coming cycle. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
It feels like all the media people out there are saying he's going to be one of us. Like, I'm just reading that. I'm not reading X's and O's of football brain and knowledge of Mike Tomlin. I'm just telling you what I hear Adam Schefter and the likes say he's going to be on a desk for a year and then reevaluate.
Yeah, maybe they know something that we don't. I think Robert Saleh, Jim Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, I think Brian Flores will be a head coach again. I think he'll be a hot commodity. I actually think that Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks, will get a look. And I think outside of that, I think it's a little bit of open season. And I actually think, I don't know if McDaniel will do it. I think McDaniel can get a job if he wants. So we're already at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coaches right then and there for 9 slots. And then they're going to be digging for some defensive coordinator, Chris Shula, I don't know how the internals at the front offices feel about these guys, so I can't hypothesize enough. I don't have enough connections yet. But I do think that Robert Saleh, Jim Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, Brian Flores, Clint Kubiak, and then Mike McDaniel will all be head coaches somewhere next year. So,
is there any college coach? I know we talked about Cignetti and Freeman being pipe dreams for these NFL franchises, but is there someone that's
you have somebody in mind?
Good enough I don't. I don't have someone in mind.
Right. Like
Greg Schiano want the Jets job?
Yeah, like,
That's not open. I'm sorry.
go down the road. Like I don't know if there's a guy that's worth, because that's a big hike and it's a big leap that a lot of coaches are afraid of and a lot of teams are afraid of too. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be a dig into the college. I think they're going to go into the young gun offensive coordinator or an experienced defensive coach. That's going to be your two things. Flores, Saleh, Harbaugh's more of a special teams, but like those guys are, from that perspective of experienced head coaches, and Stefanski and McDaniel, the experienced offensive. And then I think everybody else will go young gun offensive coordinator.
The fact that there are so many openings have me led to believe that Gruden's a possibility.
That's another one. I didn't think about that.
Like, John Gruden wants to coach. He is very vocal about wanting to be a football coach again. And he's been discussed with the litany of college football openings. Well, that has opened and shut. And now with how many NFL openings there are, do not be overly surprised if you hear John Gruden's name
That's a good
called.
shout. That's a good shout. I'm not sure. I don't know about that. I know, Brown fans of the world, and I know Mike's not here to talk about it, they're all sold on the Jacksonville Jaguar 30-year-old offensive coordinator because they think he's Sean McVay, and he hasn't called plays.
Who is that?
Grant Udinsky.
Those words have never met my ears. That could have been the fakest name on earth.
Telling you, and he's a stud, but he hasn't called plays. And they all think the Brown fan of the world, I'm telling you, outside of John Harbaugh, are all so fired up about this guy, and they all think he's going to be the next McVay. And McVay, mind you, with the Redskins, called plays for 3 years, and then this guy's never called plays in his life. So I don't think that's going to happen.
There was a thing between the Bears and the Eagles, a weird alliance that they had. It was a weird thing that was made by Chicago sports media between those two franchises. And are the Browns and Jaguars getting into this weird in-bed relationship regarding the trade they made last draft day?
And then they also traded Tyson Campbell for Greg Newsome, which was a very strange just cornerback for cornerback trade, a rare one. And now they're going to give their offensive. I agree, it's a little strange. I don't love it. I don't want to be. I don't want to be involved with the clown show. That's it. That's a circus. I do not want to be involved with that in any regard. So I hope they don't get him for my own sake. But I don't think he'll get a job either.
Well,
Bob Saleh is good enough to get a job.
When we do the 5 at 5 in about 5 minutes from now, there is a major NFL opening making a quote massive push to get a deal done with John Harbaugh today, including a blank check for him and his staff. That's going to come up next.
Wow. Stay tuned for that. Where's John Harbaugh going to go? Because I don't know what else you need to say no to unless it's, the Arizona Cardinals, which is a sleeper pick. I don't know why he wouldn't say yes to that. Christian Cat, Colin Russo, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3 with Colin Russo and Christian Cat. No Mike Rizzo. Today we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm and ESPN South Florida on YouTube. Baseball fans, spring training 2026 is underway. Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches is the place to be all season long. Right here in West Palm Beach, the Astros and the Nationals are hosting some of the baseball's biggest names. You can catch the Cardinals, the Mets, the Yankees, the Marlins, Orioles, Phillies, Pirates, even Team Venezuela all season long. Nothing beats a day at Cacti. That's sunshine, the crack of the bat, cold drinks, family, friend options. It's the best seat in baseball. Spring training basically now through March 22nd, and tickets are selling fast. Go check it out today. Cacti Park has fan favorite promotions. That they're going to have Sunday brunch, Hero Days, Bark in the Park night, happy hour games, you name it. Also get the 4-for-4 with a family 4-pack. That's 4 tickets, 4 dogs, 4 drinks, and 4 chips. Go to cactipark.com to lock in your seats. Spring training baseball's here in West Palm Beach at Cacti Park. Colin Russo and Christian Cat. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Let's bounce around. Let's do a little 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas, no brakes.
And it's shaking big time.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union, proud supporter of FAU Athletics. Number 1.
I'm not going to make you wait that long. We'll get right to the tease going into the last break. The New York Football Giants are, quote, making a massive push to get a deal done with John Harbaugh today. That push includes paying him and his staff whatever they want, per SNY's Connor Hughes. If you're John Harbaugh, the money's right, which we're being shown that it will be. Do you like that New York Giants job?
Yeah, in my opinion, this is the perfect match. Harbaugh, I know they're on East Coast guys, but he's got the most to gain at that job. This has got to be a situation. You got to go to this next job thinking this is going to be the last stop of my career. That should be John Harbaugh's perspective here. And finishing off with the Giants, who has been a historic franchise that has seen a whole lot of nothing since Coughlin. And with the city of New York sort of desperate for a good thing going, and a team that's actually pretty good and have talent, I don't know why Harbaugh wouldn't do this, and I think he's one of the few people that could actually deal with the media because he's got a pedigree that supersedes anything that's New York media. Aaron Glenn is sort of he was a no-name to the New York media. He didn't have anything proven, no accolade to his name, and a lot of the Giant coaches have been the same. So because of that, I think that's why he works. I think he can handle New York. And I think if he succeeds, it would be the perfect second and final stop in his illustrious career. I think this is a great fit if they can make this work.
Those are the two teams I root for. Ravens are my favorite team, and I root for the Giants.
Which I think is wrong, but I understand.
I can't just have a team I root for?
I guess it's AFC, NFC. I have teams that I enjoy watching. I have teams that I like, all right, if they play, I want to watch them. Root for is a different situation, but I'm not going to here to nitpick what you do.
I root for the Giants when it makes sense for them to win. Like, obviously, I was not rooting because I want the Giants to do well. I was not rooting for the Giants to win week 17, 18 like they did this year. But yeah, unless the Giants are playing the Ravens, I'm rooting for the Giants.
Right. Like, I'm not a Bronco fan, but I am rooting for the Broncos this weekend.
Yeah, but you're using that
despite the Bill fan?
Like rooting. Why can't you say you root for the Broncos? What's wrong with that?
Because I don't root for the Broncos week in and week out. I do it. I make my selections a couple things. My over-under teams on the win totals, which is why I was partly a Carolina fan throughout the year. And then if there's a spite attached to the team that they're playing, then I will root for the other team.
Okay, so
I can't, whoever the Packers play week in and week out, I root for the other team.
Okay, that's where I was going to next. But you root against teams.
And maybe that is what it is.
You have the
maybe
inverse.
I'm rooting against teams rather than rooting for the opponent. I'm rooting against Green Bay.
It would never, if it was advantageous for the Packers to win in order to help the Jaguars, you wouldn't obviously have that Packers hatred supersede your Jaguars fandom.
No.
Because you're rooting for the Jaguars.
Right.
Just like I would never let my rooting interest for the New York Giants supersede my Ravens fandom. Same thing to inverse. Anyway, I think this would make sense.
It's a perfect fit. It's exactly what they need.
And it's not like breaking any news saying that it would be a good hire for the New York Giants. When you talk about the unproven commodities that they took and didn't work out with, it never panned out with Dayball, Judge,
McAdoo, Shermer.
Ugh, there's too many names that are in very recent memory. Who was immediately after Tom Coughlin? Was that McAdoo?
Yes. I believe it was McAdoo. McAdoo got a bad rap because McAdoo was the guy who follows the guy.
Right.
And or was it Spags?
I think it was Steve Spagnuolo. It was so long ago to remember him as a head coach.
I have to double check because Spags, he was an interim. So the thing is, he replaced somebody. So I'm not sure if that was for Coughlin. I'll double check that actually while you're doing the next one. But I do think this is he gets them above water. That's what the Giants need. That's what the Dolphins need. And it's a prestigious job with good talent. They would be an A-plus move.
Number 2.
How about in Chicago? Did you hear about this? Of course, first-year head coach Ben Johnson has this city just by the you-know-whats right now. He's been holding Bears practices outside with no heaters. Per Kevin Byard, of course, a member of that Bears secondary. He mentioned that the players didn't like it at first, but Byard said it's starting to pay off. Could it get any better in terms of grading a head coaching hire in year one than Ben Johnson to the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, he's done a for a guy who's a first-year guy, not just a first-year coach at this specific team. Dan Quinn comes to mind as well, who made an NFC championship run in his first year as the Commanders, but he's been a head coach before. But couldn't be better than this. Could not be better than this. This is going to be an important game. The Rams do not fare fantastic in bad weather. They don't. Matthew Stafford traditionally doesn't, and Sean McVay traditionally doesn't. They had a good game last year against the Eagles in that snowbank, but outside of that, they have not been great. It's a winnable game for Chicago. The weather being that way tips in their favor. So I think that's going to be it's more of a takeable game in the conditions. It's going to be like the 9th or 10th coldest game in Soldier Field's history, and it might snow. So
maybe it's because they don't play that many postseason games.
Right, that has a lot to do with it. And January is the worst month in Chicago, and they don't ever play in January. But that, to me, evens the odds, tips it back into the Bears' favor a little bit. Important game, but already an A-plus season.
Yeah, if you were a Chicago Bears fan going into the season, your goals were
contend for the postseason.
Right, contend for the postseason. Be solidified in your belief that Caleb Williams will be your starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. Be your franchise quarterback. 2, be convinced that you made the right head coaching decision in hiring Ben Johnson. Those are the only 2 boxes you needed to check in 2026. Not make the playoffs, not win the division. Just that. Even double-digit wins was not a necessity. And now you look back, you bullied your rival, you won your division, and you are 1 win away from an NFC championship game. This is...
Which could be at home. At home.
This is contending with the Commanders of last year. It truly is. Maybe because I'm saying that because Chicago's a bigger market than Washington, and they've been in pain for an equal amount of time. But this is a ridiculous story that's been awesome to unfold in 2025.
Number 3.
This broke a couple of days ago. LeBron James is going to wear a special edition patch on his jersey to celebrate his record-setting 23rd NBA season. Beginning a couple of days ago in Sacramento, the city where he's made his NBA debut in 2003. The patch, which LeBron will wear for the remainder of the season, features a silhouette of his pregame chalk toss and 3 colored stripes representing the franchises he's played for in Cleveland, Miami, and LA. Do you like LeBron getting this special treatment?
I can't complain about it because he deserves special treatment. It is LeBron at the end of the day. I'm not, and the weird part is, ever since he turned 41, he's played very well. You should check out his stats the last 2-3 weeks. Really, since the new year, he's been excellent. And he's kind of been vintage. It's weird because I'm under no impression that LeBron is going to retire, because I think he's going to do a full retirement tour.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is this is the penultimate retirement tour. You get to sell new patches in next year.
I think if there's one dying wish of Adam Silver, he would say, LeBron, all I ask is you tell us in October that you're retiring. And you tell the world in October that you're retiring, so we could juice every game you play and make 82 of the most expensive NBA games to ever occur happen in that final season of yours. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't do that. Maybe he just decides to hang it up. And part of me thinks LeBron is almost too good to retire. Kobe was hobbled off the court at the end of his career. Kareem was hobbled by the end of it. Jordan lost the step too by the end of his career, even the second time around with the Wizards. LeBron is too good to walk away right now. He's too good. And I don't know if he helps the team win, but individually he's playing outstanding still. Great basketball. You don't retire. And I don't hate the patch.
4.
I don't hate the patch. By the way, going back to the Giants really quick, it was McAdoo, and Spags took over post-McAdoo.
Wow.
That was it. I thought I had that. Okay.
Huh. Well,
Number 4.
last night I was at the SoFi Center after you were there to watch New York Golf Club versus the Jupiter Lynx. Of course, the Jupiter Lynx is Tiger Woods' team, but of course, Tiger Woods is injured. Can't play. He's in town for his birthday bash coming up tonight. So he coached his squad from the sideline, and he was available for the press conference after the Jupiter Lynx loss. I was in the press conference, and I raised my hand to ask a question.
Okay.
You want to talk about stadium pulse and the
nervous.
pressure? My heart was pounding out of my chest when I said this to the greatest of all time.
For Tiger, here supporting your guys with your team, and also obviously supporting Charlie at Benjamin. Is this a new look on golf, being off the course in terms of actually full swings and all of that, and rather supporting the guys around you? Has that been difficult or a different way of looking at the game?
Well, I tell you, it's a lot more stressful watching, without a doubt. Participating and playing is really not that. Yes, it is nerve-wracking. Yes, I'm not going to say it's not, but at least I have control. Watching my son play or watching these guys play out there, I have no control over that. And so I'm hoping they do their very best. I'm wishing for nothing but the best outcomes at all times. And it's frustrating when my son doesn't play well, and because he put his heart and soul into it. These guys were up early and got the momentum and looked like we're going to maybe win a match, and they don't. And it's not fun to watch because I want these guys to win.
All right, Colin. You heard the question. You heard the answer.
I like the question, too. I thought that was a very good question. I thought he could have given a better answer to that as well.
All right. Thank you. I was going to ask you to grade the question.
It was a very good question. I actually like that. Has your perspective on golf shifted because now you were spectating more than you were playing, like along the lines of that? And I thought he could have been a little bit more. I mean, I'm not going to grade his answer. The answer is how he answered. Thought he could have given a little bit more about, his reflection about spectating more than he plays, because the last 2 years he has spectated more than he plays.
Yeah, and his son is like gonna be a pro golfer. Like, he's playing in all these events. He is a state champion contending golfer at the high school level at the Benjamin School up the road, and he'll play college golf if Charlie wants to, or he'll try to jump right into the program like Tiger did about 25 years ago, more than 25 years ago.
Yeah, he said it's stressful. I like the question, though. That's a good question. It's a different look on it. I'm surprised he didn't give you that's a good question. That's a good look. I appreciate I thought he was
maybe someone's asked him that before. Because he's not in the media that often.
Hey, he doesn't do a lot of media.
But that's
so
the
I don't
elephant
know.
in the room, is that Tiger's out of his heyday, and he is coaching up his kids a bunch. And now with TGL, he is on the sideline instead of playing at a much more manageable pace, which you thought, if Tiger Woods was going to win at competitive golf, this would be the form that would lend it to him. He's not to walk the course. He's not taking 72 holes. He has to be active for about 30 swings once every 2 weeks. Maybe Tiger can turn the clock back for at least that moment in time. Of course, he's hurt, didn't play. But, yeah. Dude, when I tell you my heart was pounding, like you would be able to see
I was
my
listening
left
for you.
boob.
I was listening for you to stumble over a word or not, and you didn't. You did a good job there.
Oh, my gosh. It was, a little bit of voice crack. Maybe get hard on myself.
What else did you want to ask him?
I wanted to ask him if it was killing him not being able to actually take a full swing into the stinger hole, but someone kind of took that before me because it's named the stinger was shot created by Tiger Woods, and now they have that TGL golf hole that forces you to hit a shot that travels 150 yards distance-wise that does not raise higher than 50 feet. It's the classic Tiger stinger, and Tiger's not playing TGL golf this year, so he was not able to actually do that. But, yeah, that's what I would have asked. Also, ask more about the Brooks Koepka situation, which if you want to hear Tiger Woods' answer onto he had a big play in it. Tiger Woods had a big role in reinstating Brooks Koepka to the PGA Tour, and the terms of which had to be met in order to get Brooks back on tour. Tiger answered that question last night at TGL as well.
I would have been curious to get his thoughts. He would have danced around it, but to ask him if he thinks the Liv's future is more along the lines of a competitor or more along the lines of potentially a partner in the PGA's role and getting players playing perhaps back and forth or something like that. I'd be curious on that perspective. I don't know if he'd give you anything there, but I'd be curious on that.
Yeah, I saw Tiger like chopping up with the son behind the scenes. Really cool. Just to feel like I shouldn't have been there.
With his son?
Yeah. Because like during intermission,
right,
he was making fun of Charlie, saying go home, go to bed. It was late at night. And Charlie's like a teen, so he was chopping it up with him as well behind the scenes, and he's in the owner's box. But Tiger Woods, man, nice guy, very kind, answered all the questions that were presented to him, so I can't complain much at all.
When you get him, he's good. When you get him, he's good. You just never get him.
I think we'll get Tiger Woods in these airs soon. I think...
What are you under the impression you guys have like a relationship now?
Not, that was a great back and forth. You heard it as well as I did. But I think that we're at TGL every single match. I think they'll throw us a bone one of these days.
I think they'll throw us a bone, and it won't be Tiger Woods. I mean,
think we're going to get Max Homa or Chris Gotterup.
There you go. There you get Gotterup. Talk about a little Ryder Cup. We'll be getting snubbed. We can talk about that. I don't think they're going to give you Tiger. Tiger. I'm not under the impression.
I think we're going to get Tiger.
Why are you so confident in that?
Because we do a lot for TGL.
I agree, and we love the TGL at Palm Beach Gardens. But I'm going to be honest. I don't even know if TGL people can get Tiger for 25 minutes.
We just got him.
Yeah, for a press conference, it's a little different than like an interview.
All right.
I don't want to rain. I understand this. If you and Tiger had a good moment there, I understand. But that asking a question at a press conference versus a 20-minute sit-down interview are two very different things.
You hear about this in St. Louis, Missouri? Multiple monkeys are on the loose, sparking confusion and concern for the city's animal control officials, who said they do not know where the primates came from. Apparently in St. Louis, the monkeys have been running free since at least Thursday, when they were first spotted roaming the streets. Residents have been warned to avoid the exotic animals because these monkeys could be under, quote, unpredictable or aggressive under the stress of being in this unnatural environment. It's unclear how many monkeys are at large, but officials believe that there is more than one, and initial reports suggested there were 4, at least, at a time. And despite search efforts, the primates had not been found as of Sunday evening. The city's health department, which handles animal control, told BBC News. Why BBC News is the first to report this, I don't know.
Why are they getting the story? Why? Hold on. These are coming from animal control? This is not the zoo?
Yeah. Animal control is reporting this.
So where does animal control find the monkeys to begin with?
Just people
who have monkeys?
If you're walking the sidewalks out in City Place right now and 4 monkeys are crossing the road, you're going to call animal control first.
Right, but I'm talking about the origin of the monkeys. Where do you think they're from?
We don't know. That's the crazy thing. Because when when wild animals get loose from the zoo raises a flag like, hey, we're missing a tiger. Like, watch out. There are 2 hippopotamuses that are in Lake Okeechobee right now. Get out of the water. No zoo in St. Louis said, hey, we're missing 4 monkeys. So, no one knows where these monkeys came from.
It's got to be a pet.
Yeah. That's a big problem in Florida. Of course, that's why iguanas are a big invasive species, because people had them as pets and got rid of them.
Do people have pet monkeys?
Yeah. You ever watch Friends?
Not enough. I don't remember this.
Yeah, there was an angle where Ross had a pet monkey.
Right.
Or it was really more of a Joey and Chandler pet and it terrorized Ross.
So you could buy one, huh? Where do you buy a monkey?
Black market.
That's it? You can't go to a PetSmart or something like that, or a special one?
No, you can't. You can't buy a monkey.
So it's illegal, is what I'm hearing.
It is. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm gonna look it up right now.
We'll find out in the break.
Would you want a pet monkey?
No.
Problem with pet monkeys is they gotta wear a diaper.
Which one? The small monkey, yeah, why not? But the big monkey, chimpanzee, absolutely not.
Those are scary.
Crazy.
There's a movie about that right now. Is it Primate?
Yes. Apparently it's not bad.
Oh, yeah?
Apparently it's not bad.
And then like the Jordan Peele movie, Nope.
No, Nope.
Nope. There was an angle about a monkey actor.
And it was good. That seems actually good. I remember there was this terrible, tragic story about the woman in Connecticut who had a pet chimpanzee and it attacked her one day.
Yeah, if you're getting a monkey, you need a cuter one. Like a monkey the size of a raccoon.
Right. Like those little spider monkeys that they have at the Palm Beach Zoo. Those work. You feed them peanuts. You let them hang on your shoulder. Yeah, no problem.
You dance a little bit.
No problem. You wear a diaper. I like it. They make funny noises. It's fun. But a chimpanzee?
Ooh.
Absolutely not.
There's a reason why they go ape. Oh, ape. Like chimpanzees can do some damage if you get on their wrong side.
Or if they just randomly, you don't even have to trigger it. They could just do it. Hard Rock Bet is your place to get in on the games. This could be anything from the national championship to the NBA basketball season to college basketball to the NFL playoffs, which have the divisional round this weekend. Bet on all of it, game by game, player by player, player props, parlays, you name it, they got it. Go get started now and bet just $5 in the app. If you win that first $5 bet, you get $150 in bonus bets immediately deposited into your account as a bonus bet. Well, then you get $150 to play with. You get a huge weekend of games. Why not have some fun with it? If you don't even know what to bet, check out the Discover page. You can see what other users, and you can tap and tag along on their picks, their parlays. If you like what they got going on, you can follow along on them. That's on the Hard Rock Bet app. Download today in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Try it today. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus. Physically present in Florida. The wager. Terms and conditions apply. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, please call 1-833-PLAY-WISE. On the other side of things, apparently, Ja Morant is being floated as one of the teams Miami Heat are interested in. I can't think of a more square peg into round hole situation. I don't think this is the right move at all. We'll get into that next. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
What's the Anajar and Levine difference? If you're the victim of a car crash, you will always speak to a lawyer. You'll always get the highest standard of care from our dedicated legal team, and we'll always fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Don't wait. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Hey guys, Mike Rizzo here. I know you're moving soon. Don't stress it. Call Good Greek for your total relocation solution. From packing and storage to local and long distance moves, Spiro and his team at Good Greek Moving and Storage has you covered from start to finish. Trusted by families, businesses, and teams like the Heat and the Hurricanes for over 2 decades. Make your next move simple, safe, and stress-free.
Good Greek Moving and Storage. Your superhero movers.
Banyan Printing, your trusted partner for all your printing and signage needs. With 48 years of local service, over 1,000 customers choose Banyan for fast turnaround, free delivery, consistent results, and market-leading customer service. Banyan's all-in-one solution saves businesses time and resources. From business cards and brochures to direct mail services and signage, they eliminate the hassle of multiple vendors. If you're unsure you're getting the best service or value, visit banyanonline.com or call 561-586-6220.
Long ago, the seas be whispering tales of the lost flute. A treasure so rare it shows itself but once each turn of the sun. All this searching, and I found it. Publix, this be where X marks the spot?
Discounted tickets, limited time.
South Florida Fair discount tickets are on sale now at Publix and online at southfloridafair.com. Advance tickets can save you more than half, so get them before they vanish on January 15th.
Limited time deal.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees within the heart of South Florida. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 27 national championships, including their third championship in women's soccer. Visit KUCHawks.com for the latest on the championship athletic programs at Kaiser University.
Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
When your team's best players have all been traded and the latest pick is overrated, just raise a glass with a friend or two and tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. May your team be great and your picks be true, and if it falls apart, you'll know what to do. Just raise a glass with a fan or two and tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. It's a crazy world, so what do? You tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. Hey!
Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, imported by William Grant & Sons, Inc.
Every great performance starts with a plan. Your game plan for greatness begins at Men's Only Medical. Dr. Al is redefining men's health with concierge care and cutting-edge treatments tailored just for you. From anti-aging and weight management to cardiovascular health, skin, and hair, they've got you covered. Expect personalized care and advanced technology to help you look, feel, and perform your best. Visit mensonlymedical.com. Men's Only Medical, setting a new standard for men's health.
ESPN 106.3 is your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet, home of Inter Miami, Miami Heat, and the Miami Dolphins. Catch all the action and the biggest matchups throughout the week right here on ESPN 106.3. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sports book. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. Wager terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888-ADMIT.
The PGA Tour is back in Palm Beach. The Cognizant Classic returns February 25th through March 1st to the Champion Course at PGA National Resort and Spa. Be here to watch PGA Tour players take on the Bear Trap, one of the toughest stretches in golf, while enjoying elevated fan activities around every corner. Experience the energy with your friends and take in the excitement of this can't-miss event. Tickets are on sale now at thecognizantclassic.com.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
If you're looking for something to do on Saturday night, come join us at City Place right here in West Palm Beach. ESPN Radio College Football Campus Tour is coming into town, and join us and see the Airstream. Big old trailer hanging out at City Place this weekend, Saturday night, January 17th from 4 to 8 p.m. You can catch myself and Theo Dorsey from 5 to 7 doing live ESPN radio shows. Try your shot at the Surf Pro Rapid Response Reflex game, play the Robin Hood football toss, enter some awesome giveaways, all going to be at City Place, and even maybe get a free Monster Energy drink. Bring your friends, rep your school, be part of the action as ESPN Radio takes over City Place this Saturday night. Join us for some nonstop action that is going to be January 17th, 4 to 8 at City Place, West Palm Beach. Don't miss it. It is Colin Russo and Christian Cat with you. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. If you missed any of the show, go listen back on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Just go to Russo and Rizzo or watch us live, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X. YouTube at ESPN South Florida and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Miami Heat are exactly where everybody expected them to be, 21-19. After a hot start to the season, one of the better offensives, they sort of come back down to reality a little bit. And with the trade deadline coming up in just about 2.5 weeks, all eyes are on who's going to make a move, who's not going to make a move. The Miami Heat are in a peculiar position where they have money on the books that they could actually shift out. But on top of that, it's a team that probably is in desperation mode to go get a young player. And one that has kept popping up and out is Ja Morant. Ja Morant, who has been with the Grizzlies for the extent of his career, has played well on some good teams, especially some 50-win teams for the Grizzlies a number of years ago. But really, since the off-court antics became the focal point of his career perception, he hasn't necessarily responded. He's had injury issues. He hasn't been on the field, on the court. He's been suspended by Adam Silver for 25 games. He's a distraction. There's no other way to say it. He is a distraction piece. And now all of a sudden, Shams Charania announcing yesterday that now the Heat are one of the teams that are interested in him. Let me get this straight. When the whole situation last trade deadline was, boy, is Jimmy Butler a distraction? Boy, do we need to get rid of Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley, the feud needs to stop. We need to shift on because Jimmy Butler is taking games off. He desperately wants to get out. He makes everything felt with him wanting to get out of town, and he hates the roster. He doesn't like the other guys he plays with. He doesn't fly with them. Whatever it might be. And once they rid themselves of Jimmy Butler, they got Wiggins in there, who has been a pretty solid piece. The Heat have been thinking, all right, well, we're not going to be great. We didn't get a star in return of this, but at the very least, you don't have Jimmy Butler, who has not done very well with the Warriors. Now, 11 months later, the Miami Heat are potentially looking to bring in distraction, Weapon X, essentially, in Ja Morant. Did I get that right? Is this not the craziest trade rumor we've seen with the Heat recently? I don't know what. I know he's good. I know he's talented. Is he a Heat player?
Forgive me for my ignorance in the situation. Is Ja Morant unhappy with the Grizzlies?
Very.
Or is okay, gotcha. Because I feel like there is a grass is greener on the other side. Are the Heat in enough of a win now mode to be able to weather the oncoming storm that will inevitably happen with Ja Morant if they ink him to a longer term than just a midseason acquisition? Like if the Heat plus Ja Morant equals a team that could contend for the East, are they that close?
No. I don't even think they're a Ja Morant away. I don't. Because Ja Morant is 26 years old. He's got multiple All-Stars to his name. It is a buy low. It's buying low. But there was a video that came out, 3 hours ago, when they're in NBA Europe right now. So I believe they're in Germany playing games, the Grizzlies. And Ja Morant, warming up, got into a huge argument, an extensive argument during media availability practice with one of his teammates, Vince Williams Jr. And people are reading lips, and he's basically talking about how I don't mess with you guys, whatever you want to take from it. But he's clearly unhappy. And is he anything like Jimmy Butler is a schoolgirl comparatively to Ja Morant. Jimmy Butler is a walk in the park in terms of distractions comparatively to Ja Morant. I know he's young. I know he's talented. Why would the Heat want to take something like this on?
See, until you brought up internal issues with the organization that are separated from his issues with brandishing weapons on Instagram Live.
Right.
I almost can compartmentalize that. I honestly can. Like, if you're just kind of stupid with how you treat guns and whatever, all right, we're going to have a talk about that, but it's not hurting the other teammates in the locker room, especially on the court. Sure, it's annoying to answer questions about that, but it's not going to affect anybody truly apart from uncomfortable conversations. Now, if you start messing with the team chemistry, you're not completely bought in, then I see dysfunction fueled by a player that can continue in my organization that I cannot help.
And keep in mind, Ja Morant's only played 18 games. He's played half the games of the season, less than half. So he has not been ultra available. He's averaging 19 and 7. He's a good point guard. He's probably closer to a great point guard than he is a good point guard. But the juice is not worth the squeeze on him. Nope. No. If you're the Miami Heat, I'd be blown away if Pat Riley was seriously considering this. Unless they would take, two players on some cap dump, and they wouldn't take any major pieces. But the Grizzlies are going to demand. They're going to demand one of Hero or Powell, maybe both. They would demand that in a second. Are the Heat willing to give that up?
If you're truly going to do the Jimmy comparison with Ja Morant, which two different people, two different players, two different stages.
I'm just talking about the Heat perception of it all. The Heat couldn't stand Butler by the end of it. They couldn't wait to get him out of town.
Right. But he also dragged them to two different NBA finals.
He did. Until I see that which is why they dealt with it, which is why you swallow that pill.
But I almost think if you were signing up right now, if you could make a deal with the basketball higher power who said you're going to get the exact tenure of Jimmy Butler with Ja Morant, think you say yes.
It's a monumental. I understand your point. I really do. Winning cures all. If they win, nobody cared about Jimmy Butler's antics. It wasn't until they started losing that they actually started to become a problem. But
of course, you want to win championships, but it's not realistic to win every year.
And I'm going to the lengths. I'd be willing to say that the Heat are not a player away. They're not a player away. I don't think they're a Ja Morant away. They're a Giannis away. They're not a Ja Morant away from winning an NBA title. And if that's their goal, unless their goal is to avoid the play-in, which has been few and far between since the play-in's been established, unless their goal is to avoid the play-in, be a competitive 1 through 4 seed team, maybe make it a round or two in the NBA playoffs, if that's their goal, then I could listen to this. But if their goal is we're trying to figure out what the next foundation of our team is going to be, I do not think you sign up and tie yourself to Ja Morant. I really don't. I really don't. Ja Morant has done absolutely nothing in his career to warrant that. This is a guy who, mind you, has played 9 games, 50 games, and 18 games in his last 3 years. You're not paying what you're paying him for that. That is not even a full season's worth, and that is 3 seasons. That is not worth it. That is not worth it.
Yeah, that kind of feels like a excuse to make a splash.
It does. And why are the Heat under any pressure to make it? Yes, Heat fans should want them to make a move, but the Heat, unless they're going for Giannis, Ja Morant feels like the terrible consolation prize. Oh, we couldn't get Giannis. We didn't want to give up the hive and then the queen bee for Giannis. But here's Ja Morant. Might sell some jerseys, might get people in the seats for 3 weeks until he starts, bothering people. Until he doesn't play, it starts sitting on the sideline instead of playing in the court. That's why I can't take this seriously. I don't know if the Heat's goal is to get younger, I totally get it. And they're going to have to shift out of one of Adebayo, Hero, or Norman Powell eventually. But
yeah, I think it's what you're alluding to. It's not just that acquiring Ja Morant would not bring the Miami Heat forward. It could bring them backward.
It could bring you backward.
It's not a lack of moving forward. It is setting yourself back.
You sell the house for Giannis, you know for a fact you will be better off than the way you found it. You know that for a fact. You might not want to give up the assets, but you know if Giannis is healthy, you are going to be a better team than what you were without him. I am willing to make the argument that Ja Morant does not promise that, because Ja Morant is not synonymous with great teams outside of the Grizzlies or 2 coaches ago. Keep that in mind. 2 coaches ago. So I don't know what they're thinking here and who they'd even give up. Not only that would match up with the contracts of said players, but they would ask for a young piece. They would ask for Norman Powell. They'd probably ask for Hero. They'd ask for two players, some draft compensation, and here's Ja Morant, another guy. I don't think that's worth it. For a team that's 21-19, has made runs from low seeds before with the best coach in the NBA, I wouldn't make that risk. I wouldn't take that risk. I don't think he is worth it. 888-760-3776. Should the Heat trade for Ja Morant? Am I wrong here? Am I off target? Is it just you get the star in the building, then you work it out? Another thing I'd add to this is if this was the Heat of 6 years ago, or if this was an NBA team of 6 years ago, they would think, do anything to get the star in the building because stars own the league and stars determine winning teams. There would be some truth to that about 7, 8 years ago. These days, absolutely not. NBA teams nowadays, in order to be successful, you need well-rounded teams. You need well-rounded teams that are constructed properly. Boston Celtics don't even have Jason Tatum, and they are third in the Eastern Conference. The Toronto Raptors' best player is Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and they're fourth in the Eastern Conference. If you go down to the Thunder have, yes, one of the best players in the league, if not the best player in the league, but it's a properly organized team. I don't think that the Heat with Ja Morant changed that narrative. I don't. Because if you're a Heat fan, Christian, let me ask you this. What would be a successful season for the Heat right now? Right here, right now. And this could be including, well, we have players, we have pieces. We like where the team is at. Next year is going to be the year. What would be I feel good about how this season went if you're the Miami Heat?
I think you win one playoff series.
I would agree with that. I think that'd be a big success.
Because it would be one of two things. You would either pull off a massive upset as a lower seed with an underwhelm or, just a middle of the pack, the Miami Heat that you've come to know the past several years of the play-in game.
Right.
And then pulling off a massive upset. Or you turn around this regular season to where you have a winnable 6-3 or a 5-4 series that the Miami Heat do overcome and do win.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if the Heat want to get into the play-in and then have their chance at Detroit or the Knicks, I don't think you're winning either of those two series. And I know it's too early to talk about playoff projections with the Heat, but if the Heat can escape that play-in, be hanging around a 6 or a 5, they could totally knock one of those teams off that'll be hanging around there, whether it's Philadelphia, Toronto, Boston. They could totally hang around with those teams. I don't know about the Knicks or Detroit. I even include Boston in that. But any of those other, Toronto, Philadelphia, Orlando, they could beat those teams. They could beat Cleveland. Maybe a move is necessary. I don't know. If it's not for Giannis, I would stay away from it. I really would. If it's not for Giannis, I would stay away from it. If you want to go get a point guard, go get Darius Garland from the Cavs. Go get Darius Garland from the Cavs. That's a much better option than what Ja Morant would. And the Cavs might consider trading him because the Cavs have their own plethora of issues on top of that.
Got about 3 minutes left. You hear the world's ending right now?
How so?
Verizon's having blackouts across the country.
So I have Verizon. I don't have an issue with this.
Well, because you're in Wi-Fi right now, probably.
Maybe there's some truth to that.
I'm getting Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, Xfinity, all facing outages across the U.S.
Cyber attack?
That's what the conspiracy theorists are trying to say right now.
What other? I mean, why are they all going down? Did the satellite go down?
I don't know. Maybe some weird solar anomaly, for all I know. But yeah, that's going on right now. I haven't left the office at all today, so I haven't experienced the issues. But
are we going to walk outside and it's going to be like, this is the end, and everybody's going to be like, all the buildings are on fire, and
seriously, we're breaking down whether or not the Miami Heat should. You turn the dial one way or another, and it's beep.
Yeah, right.
Beep, the emergency. Or maybe we're not being heard right now because the emergency. What's the thing? The broadcast transmission is going on right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
I wonder if that. Yeah, I got to assume.
It's so much to the East Coast. I'm looking at the outages, and it's like from Florida all the way up to New Hampshire, all the way west to Tennessee. Just a red blob of outages for Verizon.
And it's but you said T-Mobile and AT&T and all the other major cell network companies.
Yeah, this is Leading Report, which is a pretty credible news source. They said Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, U.S. Cellular, and Xfinity all facing outages across the U.S. T-Mobile and AT&T report their services are operating normally.
All right, so we don't buy that. All right.
So the issues are people trying to get to Verizon users. So it is Verizon. Verizon's the common denominator here.
Are you a Verizon guy?
I am a Verizon guy.
Wow. So we're in some trouble. Somebody's stealing our information?
Yeah, you can have it.
They already have it. They already have it all. That's Christian Cat. Colin Russo, if you missed any of the program today, go listen back on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Just go to Russo and Rizzo. Catch us tomorrow. Same time as always, 4 to 6 p.m. Appreciate everybody staying aboard with us as we close things out here on a Wednesday edition, the 14th of January, 2026. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay focused. We'll see you next time. That's Christian Cat. Colin Russo. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.